Hi, because of your IEP, I am allowed to read the test to you, so I will be doing that today. I will go question by question, reading both the question and the 4 answer choices. You may pause this video at any time in order to answer the test questions, or you can answer as I am reading and keep moving on. You can go back and rewatch something if you did not understand what I was saying. So use this video as a tool to help you do the best you can on the test, and think of it like being in the small group when you take STAR. Okay, so the first question on the test is really just to put your name. Notice that it asks for last name and then first name. Please do it that way. So when I am looking at the reports, I can sort it by your name. Then the second question asks for you to tell me which class period you are in. So you'll check either 1, 2, 4, 5, or 7. So after that, we begin to get to the actual test questions. Okay, so I'm going to start reading now, and then I'll pause after each question, give you a chance to think, but not too long because you can, of course, pause the video. Question 1. American Indians often died of diseases that did not kill Europeans because A. They had not been previously exposed to these diseases. B. Their diets were not as rich in vegetables and minerals. C. Indian medicine was not as good as Spanish medicine. Or D. Indians were not in very good physical condition. Again, if you need to, replay that and then move on. Question 2. The Spanish explored much of the American Southwest because A. The desert climate was a lot like parts of Spain. B. Indians told them of cities and gold in that region. C. Conquistadors liked to be on the move. D. There were few American Indians in the region. Question 3. For what achievement is Alonso Alvarez de Pineda known? A. Introducing horses to North America. B. Creating the first map of the northern Gulf of Mexico. C. Bringing the potato back to Europe. D. Discovering the Pacific Ocean. Question 4. Which conquistador led the conquest of the Aztec Empire? A. Hernán Cortés. B. Pánfilo de Narváez. C. Francisco Vázquez de Coronado. D. Hernando de Soto. Okay, question 5 has a quote that goes along with it, so I'll start by reading the quote. Throughout all this country we went naked, and twice a year we cast our skins like serpents. The sun and air produced great sores on our chests and shoulders. The country is so broken and thick-set that often after getting our wood in the forest, the blood flowed from us in many places. Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca. From the quotation above, you can conclude that Cabeza de Vaca and his companions found Texas to be A. Harsh, B. Pleasant, C. Chilly, or D. Inviting. Question 6 has a table with it, so I'll read that to you. The first half says native to the Americas, cocoa beans, corn, cotton, guinea pigs, potatoes, rattlesnakes. The second half says native to Europe, Asia, or Africa, chickens, horses, pears, rice, sheep, wheat. The products listed in this table were introduced to new regions in a transfer known as the A. Spanish trade, B. American transfer, C. Coronado expedition, D. Columbian exchange. Question 7. What did Coronado hope to find at Cibola and Quivira? A. Gold, B. Food, C. Oil, D. Friendly Indians. Question 8. Which Spanish explorer wrote the first European account of life in North America? A. Estevanico. B. Coronado. C. Cabeza de Vaca. D. Moscoso. Number 9. One reason for conflict between the Spanish and American Indians was that both groups claimed the same A. ancestors, B. gold, C. land, D. religion. Number 10. The Spanish became more interested in East Texas after A. the French began exploring the area, B. they began trading with the Caddos, C. the sinking of the Armada, D. they finished exploring New Mexico. Number 11. The first organized government in Texas was in A. La Bahia, B. San Antonio, C. Matagorda Bay, D. San Saba. Number 12. What mission did Alonso de Leon and Damian Massenet establish in East Texas? A. San Francisco de los Tejas, B. San Miguel de los Adayes, C. San Antonio de Valero, D. San Saba. Number 13. Which governor of Texas founded the San Antonio settlements? A. Luis Juchero de San Denis, B. Martin de Alarcón, C. Antonio Margil de Jesus, D. Damian Massenet. Question 14. What was the significance of the year 1718 in Texas history? A. La Salle landed near Matagorda Bay, B. the first mission was built in East Texas, C. the Chicken War was fought, D. the San Antonio settlements were founded. Question 15 has a quote, so I'll start by reading that. They guarded the missions and protected the Spaniards' herds of horses. They helped supervise the American Indians who lived there. They also provided escorts for travelers, delivered mail, and performed construction work. Who would have performed the duties described in the passage above? A. Mission priests, B. Presidio soldiers, C. Alcalde members, D. ranchers. Number 16. The most prosperous missions in Texas were located along which river? A. Nueces, B. Brazos, C. Trinity, D. San Antonio. 17. What were the major economic activities in Spanish Texas? A. Farming and ranching, B. Mining and logging, C. Hunting and fishing, D. Shipping and manufacturing. Question 18. Which of the following best describes the relationship between Alonso Alvarez de Pineda and Cabeza de Vaca? A. Both explored the California coast and interacted with Indians. B. Both explored the Atlantic coast and interacted with colonists. C. Both explored Texas coast and interacted with Texas Indians. D. Both were leaders of Native Americans in Texas and Mexico. Number 19. The Mission Presidio system was established in Texas in order to A. elect church leaders for the mission, B. end French threat to Texas lands, C. extend the Spanish Empire in the Americas, or D. develop Texas into an independent nation. Question 20. How did Spanish missions affect the life of Native Americans in Texas? A. Native Americans became a main source of labor in the missions. B. They became equal trading partners with the Spanish government. C, the Native American tribes were allowed to control the missions. Or D, Native Americans willingly abandoned their culture and way of life. All right, question 21 has a picture alongside of it. Look at the picture and determine what is going on. Which of the following statements best describes the events in the image? A, the Native Americans rejected religious practice of the Spanish missionaries. B, the Native Americans were adopting religious practices of the Spanish missionaries. C, the Native Americans began using Spanish farming techniques and tools. D, Spanish missionaries wanted to remove the Native Americans from all missions. Question 22. What was the most important result of the Alvarez de Pineda expedition? A, the establishment of the first missions in San Antonio in 1718. The discovery of gold and silver in the Panhandle in 1542. C, conquering the Aztecs in 1519. And D, the making the first map of the Texas coastline in 1519. Question 23. Widespread outbreaks of disease are called A, expeditions, B, missions, C, epidemics, D, presidios. Question 24. The religious communities started by the Spanish Catholics are called A, expeditions, B, missions, C, epidemics, D, presidios. And finally, question number 25. A journey taken for a particular purpose like exploration is called A, an expedition, B, a mission, C, an epidemic, D, a presidio. So, if you had trouble answering any of the questions, go back and listen to that portion of the video and try that question again. Be sure you hit submit and then go back into the classroom and say that you have turned it in. I hope this video helps you do a good job. Bye.